Right then, lads, he's ready. Omnath, Locus of Hydras. But before I get to showing you what he has, I need to make a change to Voya, Jaws of the Conclave, to pull out a card I want for Omnath. So Voya is going to be getting this gravity well. Might be surprised what I'm going to pull out, but I'll explain it as we go. So let's see if I find the card I'm going to pull out first, or if I find the card that I think justifies its exclusion, its removal. Anyway, I'm not finding either yet. There it is. So I'm taking Defense of the Heart out of Voya. Should have gotten a perfect sleeve for that gravity well. The reason for that is Voya, if he's working, every time I attack, I draw a card for each wolf I control. So, well, when he attacks. So if he attacks, automatically, I'm drawing at least one card. Ideally, I'll be drawing more cards because the deck has 17 wolves, 17 elves. Now, that can be 18 wolves or 18 elves because I'm cheating with a mirror entity. So I don't think Voya needs Defense of the Heart that much because he should be drawing a lot of cards. Plus, he has a green Sun Zenith. Defense of the Heart is enchantment, 3 and green, beginning of your upkeep, so it has to go around a whole turn. And if it survives a whole turn, and one of your opponents has put 3 or more creatures in play, or already has 3 or more creatures in play, you sacrifice this and you go find 2 creatures. 2! And you just put them into play. Poof! They appear like magic. Magic l'Assemblée. The game that we know and love. That rustles our jimmies. And the reason Voya is getting this gravity well is he has a problem against flyers. So just look at the deck. She doesn't fly. She doesn't fly. He doesn't fly. Nope. This is like the scene in Shrek when the fairy godmother's pulling the books off the shelves and saying, "No ogres, no ogres, no ogres, no ogres. Flying, flying, nope, nope. No flying." I've only got 1 flying creature in here, but I've got a few with reach, and not that many. So I need to bring those fucking flyers down to the ground so I can block them. Right, so here's the green Sun Zenith. Okay, so yes. Defense of the Heart will allow me to find a red card, a red creature. But it's almost all the deck is either green or green and red. I don't really feel like I need Defense of the Heart much. I can find any green creature I want, which would probably be Beast Whisper, so when I play more creatures I can draw more cards. Of course he's red, won't be able to get him. I haven't even seen a creature with reach yet. Oh, he's got reach and flash. He's a flashy reacher. He just appears and reaches up into the sky. Oh yeah. And Voya also has Mutavault. There's, yeah, no reach. Nope. So, let me just prove the problem further. No reach. No reach. Nope. 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 Do. No. But he's got Double Strike, Vigilance, Haste. And other creatures actually have haste. Why doesn't he just give all the creatures haste? I don't know. It's a mystery to me. It's a mystery I'll probably never solve. No reach. No reach. Flying. This is the only flying creature in the whole damn deck. Shalayan Halar. 1 green, red, white for a 3/3 legendary angelic elf. Flying in Vigilance. Whenever 1 more +1/+1 encounters are put in a creature control, they do that much damage to target opponent. It gets real brutal real fast if Voya attacks and I have a bunch of elves and they're in play. Oh, fuck. That's... I didn't realize how brutal that was. Somebody recommended it. One of the lads at, one of our... I don't want to say... How do I want to phrase it? One of our frequent flyer housemates. So one of our frequent flyer housemates recommended Halayan Shalar, and they were right. Oh my god, when I got them into play and I attacked the Voya and had a bunch of elves, and all my creatures got counters, and I killed somebody right then and there. I thought, I didn't expect to kill anybody that quickly, but it's nice that I can do that. See? Hardly anything has reach. Only one creature has flying. So, Voya is getting gravity well. 1 green. Whenever a creature with flying attacks, it goes to the fucking ground. It gets down to everybody else. No special bullshit for you, you flying dragon motherfucker. Eat that bitch. So anyway, let me just put this away. Set that to the side. And let's get to Omnath, Locus of Hydras. And then I also had to figure out what to take out for the Defense of the Heart, because I'm at 99 cards plus Omnath. So let's see what he does. Let's see why did I pick this guy to be my Hydra commander. He's not a Hydra. He doesn't do anything for Hydras. What the hell am I thinking? Right, so let's get to that. So, I had the stack of Hydras. I used to have 2 Animar decks. I had Animar Surprise Motherfucker, Eldrazi Morph, and then I had Animar Soul of Hydras. 2 complete decks with the same mana bases, to include Yavimaya Hollow. Neither one had a Guy's Cradle, they just had matching mana bases for the most part. There's a few different, but not that much. And then when I got the dual lands for Animar, I decided to only go down to 1 because it's kind of silly to maintain 2 Animar decks. That I wanted to slowly eliminate all the decks that I had that duplicated a color pairing. So if I had 2 blue-black decks, I wanted to take one apart. If I had 2 absent decks, I wanted to take one apart. It took a while to do that, but I got to it. But I had all these Hydras sitting around. All these cards for the counters for the Hydras sitting around. Just a stack of them, doing nothing. So I decided to employ them. I didn't want to use a color combination I already had in play, already had put together. And yet, I chose a 5-color commander. I looked at partner commanders. I looked at 4-color commanders because the deck had to have green, red, and blue at a minimum. Because the Hydras in the stack, I had a lot of green, red, and blue cards, and I didn't want to lose any of them. So that meant I had to either exclude a color or include a color. I decided it would be more interesting to include a color. Atraxa, Praetor's Voice, right off the bat, was an option, except she doesn't have red. So I dismissed her. There's some other partner commanders, some recommendations from the house, but none of them really hit the point that I was thinking of. And then I got into Omnath Locus of All. I have another version, meaning a different art treatment, in Kenrith. And this is where it gets kind of funny, because now I have 2 5-color decks, 2 5-color EDH decks, but they don't feel like they're stepping in each other's territory. Because Kenrith, visually, does not look like a 5-color commander. He's only 5-color commander because of his abilities. Other than that, he looks like a white dude on a throne with a nice hat. So, and the decks play completely differently. They don't play the same at all. But anyway, Kenrith has an Omnath Locus of All. And what I decided to do is go ahead and get another one and run it for the Hydras, because if I would lose unspent mana, it becomes black instead. So if I get Omnath Locus of All in play, and again, he only costs 4 and 2 life. If I get blue, green, red, white in play, I can tap that and then pay 2 life for the black Phyrexian mana and get him onto the field. So he really costs 4 and 2 life. Of course, there's 4 different colors, which could be kind of tricky, but so be it. At the end of the turn of the opponent preceding me, I can dump all my mana in my mana pool, and he just keeps it and makes it black. Which, since most of the Hydras have X in their casting cost, means I can dump all that mana into the Hydras. Win-win. And at the beginning of my pre-combat main, look at the top card of the library. If it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in its mana cost, I think I only have 1 card in the deck. Except for him, who's the commander, who's not going to be on top of my library at any time, unless I get the Volra Stronghold, and other shenanigans happen. I believe I only have 1 card in the deck that has 3 or more colored pips in its mana cost. So the odds of me showing a card that has 3 or more is very, very, very low. Anyway, no matter what, I look at the top card of my library, and I go, wow, and then I put it in my hand, and I say, nice. So he draws me cards, and he stores mana. So that's the commander. Let's get to the cards. Quit moving. Stay. Let's start with the creatures. First up is Apocalypse Hydra. Apocalypse Hydra is green, red, and X. X-Men black for the X. It comes into play with X plus and plus encounters. If that is 5 or more, it comes into play with an additional X. So if I spend 7, he comes into play as a 10-10. Bang. Of course, he doesn't have trample, but he looks really cool. And he's got this neat thing where if I spend 1 in red, I can pluck a plus and plus encounter off of his happy ass and deal a point of damage to our creature player. So the more red I have, the more men I have, the more counters he has, I go and throw them at people and kill them. Then I have Ashling the Pilgrim, 1 in a red for a 1/1 elemental shaman. 1 in a red, put a plus and plus encounter on Ashling the Pilgrim. If you do this 3 times in a turn, remove all the plus and plus encounters from Ashling, and she deals that much damage to everybody. Every creature and player. They just burn, fire, eat it, bitch. What's cool is every turn, my turn, the other 3 lads I'm playing with, their turns, if I've got the mana, I can just keep putting counters on Ashling, 1 at a time. And then when she has like 15, 18 counters, boom, she blows up in our faces. As long as I do it 3 times in a single turn. And it doesn't have to be my turn. So if I've got 3 red and 3 other, and she's got a bunch of counters, and somebody is looking at me funny, I can tell them, look, you attacked me, and I'm wiping the board right now. So go play somewhere else. Take your army that way. Deep Glow Skate, 4 and a blue for a 3/3 fish. When Deep Glow Skate comes into play, double the number of each kind of counter on any number of target permanents. I don't have any planeswalkers in this deck. Maybe I should. The deck doesn't really feel done. I've got a stack of cards that make it a finished deck, but it feels like I can tune it a bit more, so I'm still playing with it. Maybe I'll put some planeswalkers in, I'm not sure. So, some creature is unlucky and has somehow picked up some neg-1 counters. I can give them more, but my creatures with plus and plus encounters, I can give them a lot more. And it doesn't give me the option. Oh, any number, so it kind of does. Alright, fair enough. Dryad of Lucent Grove, I'm very happy that they have 3 different art treatments for this guy, and I have 1 in 3 different decks, all with different art treatments. They all have their own look. Very nice. Thank you, Wizards, for doing something useful for once. Dryad of the Lucent Grove, 2 and a green for a 2/4. He's not legendary. I just realized that. Well, I always assumed he was legendary. And I never read it. I never looked at his type line that deeply. Huh. Interesting. Although in Commander it's irrelevant. I can play an additional land in each of my... unless I clone him. If I clone him, then it's relevant. But why would I do that? So my lands... then I could play more lands. I could play 2 additional lands in each of my turns. And my lands are super every basic land type in addition to other types. So I'd have that going for me. Turn of Witness. I'm thinking I'll take her out. I don't have that many instants or sorceries. And I have other ways of getting things back into my graveyard. So really she's here. Her role would be to return instants and sorceries. So I'm not sure if I'll keep her. Anyway, I think all of you know what she does. She comes to play. You pick up a card, any card, from your graveyard back to your hand. Recycle it. And the reason I don't think I'll need the Eternal Witness is I have Evolution Witness. So Evolution Witness, 2 and a green for 2/1. Let's look at them side by side. So Eternal Witness is 1 green for 2/1. Evolution Witness is 2 colorless, 1 green for 2/1. She comes into play and does her thing. She comes into play and says, hey, until you put a counter on me, I'm not doing my thing. Alright, fair enough. So you have to spend 1 and a green. She gets 2 +1/+1 encounters. And whenever 1 or more +1/+1 encounters are put on her, you can return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's pretty cool. Because I've got... the hell? Something just automatically started playing. Let's turn that off. I don't want any kind of copyright strike. Even though I'm not monetized yet, I don't want to get into that, because maybe I'll get lucky and pick up my last 20 subscribers and start making 5 crowns a month. Woohoo! So the deck has multiple ways of putting counters on creatures. So whenever I put a counter on her, I get to pull something out of my graveyard, as long as it's a permanent. So there we go. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So Experiment Cry. 2 green, blue for a 4/6 oozing mutant. Has all activated abilities of each other creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So this guy can get really interesting. So if my opponents have any creatures that have an activated ability that I would like to use, I can put a counter on that creature, and then I can activate the ability. Most of my creatures with activated abilities do not come into play with counters in and of themselves, so he becomes more useful. The other things that put counters on the creatures become more useful. And there we go. Do you know how much a Bloom Tender is? Bloom Tender is expensive. The foil one, oh my baking ass. The foil one from Lauren, it's up to something like 120 euros now. It's fucking expensive. I used to have one. And I traded it into my LGS when it got up to about 60 or 80 euros. And I thought, that's probably the top. It's going to get reprinted. I'll just buy it back, trade for it back when the price falls after it gets reprinted. And it didn't. It fucking didn't. It just kept going up. And I'm just, oh my god. Why won't they reprint this goddamn thing so the price will fall? So that's why there's no Bloom Tender. That's why I'm going with this guy. Because he's cheap. He's real cheap. Even foil. The foil one is not worth a whole lot of money. He costs 1 more white than Bloom Tender. And he gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. So he comes into play as a 2/2. Tap, add, for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So he comes into play. Next turn, I can tap him and get 2. If I've got, say, Omnath out, I can tap him and get 5. So it works. And he's got Vigilance. So he can block, and then I can get some mana. And then I can dump it into Omnath. Fathom Mage. 2 blue-green for an evolving human wizard. Whenever a +1/+1 encounter is put on her, I may draw a card, and she's got to evolve. So as long as I keep playing bigger creatures than she is, she'll keep evolving, getting counters, and drawing me cards. Fertilid. 2 and a green for a, comes into play 2 +1/+1 encounters on it. 1 and a green, pluck a +1/+1 encounter off of Fertilid. Target player searches his or her library for a basic land, puts it in play tapped, and then shuffles. So I can use it to get my own lands. I can use it politically. If somebody is struggling for lands, I can say, hey, I can help you, but what are you going to do for me? You're going to back me up by not countering a spell. You're going to back me up by attacking somebody else. We'll work out some kind of deal. Forgotten Ancient. 3 and a green for a 0/3 elemental. So it must do something pretty cool, right? Whenever anybody casts any spell, you may put a plus and plus. They did that because people forget. People forget the trigger. So don't forget the trigger. Give him the goddamn counters. Because at the beginning of your upkeep, you may, and if you forget this, that's fine. He'll be big, and you can smash face with him. But if you remember, at the beginning of your upkeep, not in the middle, but at the beginning, you may move any number, plus and plus counters, from Forgotten Ancient onto other creatures. So it doesn't say you can move some onto one other creature. No, you can give 2 to that guy, you can give 3 to this guy, you give 2 to that guy, whatever he has. You can spread it among the team. He is a socialist. Gargo's Vicious Water. 3 triple green. Oh, so I do have something with... Huh. Okay, so this has 3 pips and mana cost. So if I've got Omnath in play, beginning my pre-combat main, if I flip this guy over and look at him, I can show it to everybody and I get 3 green. Nice. So 3 triple green for an 8/7 vigilance. Not trample, there's vigilance. But Hydra spells you cast cost 4 less to cast. That means they get 4 free counters. Whenever creature control becomes a target of a spell, Gargos fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. I don't have spells in here that really target my creatures. Maybe I should. Ooh. I still have a Sylvan Paradise. I never had Urdu, that guy that got banned, that stupid bird. I had a Sylvan Paradise I bought years ago for the art, and I just kept it. Sylvan Paradise, of course, has, for 1 green, instantly change the color of any number of creatures, target creatures, to green. So, whenever a creature, so the way I'm interpreting it is if I cast Sylvan Paradise, and let's say turn 3 of my creatures green, that means he can fight 3 creatures I don't control. Is that the correct interpretation? I'll look it up together, and if that's the correct interpretation, I should put a Sylvan Paradise in here, because that could be an instant creature kill. That could be good. Genesis Hydra. Tell me about Project Genesis. Genesis? What are you talking about? Kirk. Don't play me for a fool. So green X, you may cast Genesis Hydra. When you cast, you can cast them if you have them and you've got mana. When you cast them, show off the top X cards your library. You may put a non-land permanent card with the current mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield, and then shuffle the rest in your library. And he comes to play with X plus and plus encounters. No trample, no evasion. He's just big, and you get something for free. Non-land. Okay. So, okay, it'd be nice if at least I could get a land. So if I do this, and let's say I do it for 4, I look at the top 4, and if 2 of them are X spell Hydras that I don't want to drop into play and have them just die, and something else that costs a lot, and a land, I don't even get the land. So I better make this guy count. I better cast him for a shitload. Alright, got it. Glen Elendra Archmage, 3 and a blue, 2/2 Flying Fairy Wizard. Spend a blue, sacrifice her, counter target non-creature spell with persist. So if I play the Deep Glow Skate, I better make sure that she doesn't have the Negwin counter on her, because that will kill her, and that would be kind of useless. Oh wow, look, this is something that gives my creatures evasion. 3 and a blue for a 2/3 Merfolk Warrior, Herald of Seeker's. Wouldn't it be funny if it said Herald? If that was an O, not Herald, like Hello, my king has arrived. I'm here to announce the arrival of my king. But if he's just Herald of Secret Streams, if that was an O instead of an A, that'd be kind of fun. Fine, I think it's funny. Creatures you control with +1/+1 encounters are unblockable. So, if I make this guy, let's say I put, 10 men into it, and he's an 8/8, and he's got 8 +1/+1 encounters, and he's unblockable. That can get real scary real fast. Hunting Moa, 2 and a green for a 3/2 bird. He's just a bird, but he's got Echo. Whenever he comes into play, or dies, put a +1/+1 encounter on target creature. So he comes into play for 2 and a green, and then during my upkeep, I either pay his mana cost again at the Echo, or sacrifice him, in which case I get another +1/+1 encounter on something. Now we're getting into the interesting ones. Hydra Omnivore, 4 green for an 8/8 Hydra. Whenever it deals combat damage to opponent, it deals that much damage to everybody, only the other opponents too. He just hurts everybody. And if he's unblockable, so this is the thing. He doesn't have trample. He doesn't come into play with +1/+1 encounters. So I either have to give him trample or give him a +1/+1 encounter and get Herald to Secret Streams. So if Herald is in play, then this guy would be unblockable. He'd be a 9/9 because he'd have a +1/+1 encounter at least. 9/9 unblockable. That hits all my other opponents equally. Sounds fun to me. Oh no, my God, have the mighty have fallen. This guy used to be 20 euros for the foil version. He was expensive, but now he's not. Now he's 2 euros for the foil version. What does this fucking jellyfish Hydra beast do? Blue-green X. When you cast a spell, you gain half X life and draw half X cards, round down each time. And he's got flying and trample. So if I spend 10, and he comes into play with 8 counters, I get 4 cards, 4 life. And he's got flying and trample. He's just brutal. Speaking of brutal, I should look up the price on this guy, just out of curiosity. He hasn't been printed. I've had this one for years, at least. When was it? 2014 printed. Oh yeah, it was printed 2014. That was an attempt at a joke. Jesus Christ, you guys are a hard crowd. Anyway, Colonial Hydra, 3 green, comes to play with 4 +1/+1 encounters on it. He has got trample. Whenever he attacks, double the number of +1/+1 encounters in each creature you control. Not only the ones that are attacking. So say I'm attacking with some Hydras and I've got Fathom Mage out. She's just hanging around. She's not going out there. She's not going to put her ass on the line and charge into a bunch of wolves and squirrels and dragons and shit. Fuck that. But if he does, she gets more counters, so I get more cards. Lifeblood Hydra. 3 triple green. Trample. Here we go. Finally has trample. Well, he's got trample too. But a lot of the other ones they're showing you, they didn't have trample. This guy has trample. And this guy comes into play with X. No, I would quit reading that because it's a Hydra. Almost all of them come into play with +1/+1 encounters on. That's their thing. That's what they do. When he dies, he gains life and draw cards equal to his power. I don't have a lot of way of killing my creatures here. I was thinking of putting Plague Maw Beast. Plague Maw Beast is 3 green. I forget his power toughness, doesn't matter. And you can tap him, sacrifice a creature, and proliferate. I should put that guy back in here. Monster Biomancer. 2 blue-green for a... He should be mutant, but he's not. He's just an elvish wizard. He's a 2/4. Each other creature you control comes to play with a number of additional +1/+1 encounters on it equal to his power. And those creatures are also mutants. So if I play that, what is that dude? Hydra Omnivore. I've got the Master Biomancer. It will at least come into play 2 additional +1/+1 counter. It would be a 10/10. And if Herald's out, it'll be unblockable and hits everybody equally. Brutal. Mindless Automaton. I'm pretty sure most of you have never seen this. And if you did, you just looked at it and said, "This is retarded. I'm not playing that. Fuck that. That's bullshit." But in this deck, it works. 4 colorless. Comes to play 2 +1/+1 counters on it. You can choose and discard a card, and you can put a +1/+1 counter on them. You pull 2 of them off, and you draw a card. He sounds like a one-shot guy. But you see, I've got a lot of ways of putting counters on things. So if I put more counters in this guy, then at instant speed, I can just pull off an even number of counters and draw cards for every 2. So he works in this deck. Molten Hydra. 1 in a red for a 1/1 Hydra. Spend 1 double red, put a +1/+1 counter on him. Tap. Remove all +1/+1 counters from Molten Hydra. Deals 1 damage to target creature or player for every +1/+1 counter pulled off this way. So you just build him up, you smash some people, and then something comes out that you have to kill. You just tap this guy. He loses all his... He doesn't die. He's still 1/1. So he's a repetitive source of damage to creatures and players. Nice. Now, a lot of you are looking at Nin and wondering, what the hell is she doing here? Why would I bother? So, blue and a red for a 1/1 Vidalcan Wizard. Spend X, blue-red, tap. She does X damage to target creature. That creature's controller draws X cards. And you're thinking, God, he must be getting really desperate for creature control. Oh. She's not going to hurt my opponent's creatures that much. She's going to attempt to hurt mine. So let's skip down a little bit, and I'll show you the combo. And I'll show you why I want that Defense of the Heart in this deck. So, Vigor. Vigor's in the deck. Bigger Vigor. 3 triple green for a 6/6 trampling elemental incarnation. If damage would be dealt to creature control other than Vigor, prevent it. Put a +1/+1 count on the creature for every 1 point of damage for it this way. If he goes to graveyard, he gets shuffled back in the owner's library. So, you can't reanimate this guy. So if I have Nin out, and I have Vigor out, all my other creatures, if I've got excess mana, I can blue-red, spend a little mana, target them to draw cards. And Vigor will prevent the damage, and instead give that creature +1/+1 counters. She tries to hurt them, and Vigor says, nah baby, I'm going to make them bigger. You can try again. But our boss gets cards, so he'll be happy. Polychronos World Eater, 2 green for a 5/5 legendary. No +1/+1 counters. It's just a 5/5 Hydra. But green, double X, Monstrosity X. If it's not monstrous, I can put X +1/+1 counters on it, it becomes monstrous. And when it becomes monstrous, it deals X damage divided as I choose among any number of target creatures in my opponent's control. Each of those creatures deals damage back to Polychronos. So, it doesn't deal damage according to its power, which would be much more interesting. And that double X, so if I spend 4 and a green, if I spend 5, it just gets 2 +1/+1 counters. So I get 2 damage divided among creatures in my opponent's control. Not very impressive. Not impressive. But if some of my mana production works, and I can raise it up to, say, if I can spend 12 and 1 green and do 6 damage, then it becomes more interesting, and I can do it at instant speed. Primordial Hydra. Green, Comes to play, yeah, counters. Beginning of your upkeep, double the number of counters on this son of a bitch. As long as there are 10 or more counters, it natively gets trample. So it has conditional trample. And if it has trample, that means it's 10/10 or bigger. Smash face. Here's another card that has no financial value, but is very useful in this deck. And that's neat. That's what I like. I like it when I can find cards that have near zero financial value, that I like the art on, that I like the card, and actually fits a deck. That ticks all those boxes. She ticks all those boxes. I like the art. I like the way the card looks. She's, I think, €1 in foil. And she fits this deck perfectly. 2 green. Her power is equal to my devotion to green, so by herself she's a 2/3. Each of the creature I control comes into play with additional plus and plus and counter on it. So even if I play a creature that normally wouldn't have counters, she gives a counter anyway. And yes, it's only 1, but it's every creature I cast. No, if I get them off Defense of the Heart and she's in play, she'll give those creatures plus and plus and counters. She doesn't care if it came into play. And there goes the battery. Alright, first battery, let's pick up. I think I explained her enough, so let's go to the next card. Sack a Tribe Builder. 1 in a green, 1/1 Snake Shaman. Sacrifice him, go find a base land, put it in play tab. Who cares? Zephyr Drake. There's another creature. It's Dusk Something Beetle. So Dusk Something Beetle, I think it only costs 1 in a green. I believe it's 1/1. When it comes into play, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. And creatures with +1/+1 counters you control have trample. Trample is nice, but flying is better. So even though he costs more to cast, he's 6, 5 and a blue for a 4/4 flyer. That's a lot of mana. But every creature I control with it, with a +1/+1 counter on it, has flying as long as he's in play. So I think flying is a bit more interesting than trample, especially because a few of the Hydras have trample. Shalai, Voice of Plenty. 3 and a white for a 3/4 legendary angel. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. 4 and a green, 4 green. Put a +1/+1 counter on everybody you control, including her. So if I've got Sapphire Drake in play, and I activate her ability, then she would have flying twice. Shapers of Nature. 1 blue-green. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this in here. So, Shapers of Nature is a Merfolk Shaman from 1 blue-green. It's a 3/3. For 3 and a green, I can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. For 2 and a blue, I can pull off a +1/+1 counter and draw a card. I'm not sure if that's going to prove to be too much of a mana sink, or if it's going to be the mana sink that I want. For example, if there's a time when I don't really have anything to cast, or a time... I'm an idiot. I've got a Seedborn Muse in my art binder doing nothing. Ooh, new plan. Seedborn Muse is going in the deck. Sting Moggy. 3 in a red. Comes to play 2 +1/+1 counters on him. 3 in a red. Pull a +1/+1 counter off Sting Moggy. Blow up an artifact or land. Boom. And he's just cute. This is Omar Rayan art. Larry McDougall and Omar Rayan. So Omar Rayan has done more cards. Larry McDougall hasn't really done any I can remember after Lorwyn. But I love their art. I love the way that it looks. Reminds me of the old days of Magic. With all these cool artists. Stone Coil Serpent. You just spin X, and it comes to play with X +1/+1 counters on it. And he's got reach, trample, and protection from multicolored. So he's got a lot going for him. Sun Titan. Well, the deck has white. I have Sun Titan doing nothing, so he might as well go in. 4, white for a 6/6 Vigilant Giant. Whenever he attacks or comes into play, pull something out of your graveyard, 3 CMC or less, put into play. Yeah, pretty basic, pretty simple. I love Sun Titan. So let's just look at some of the potential targets. So, Ashling, Dryad Elysian Grove, if he dies, either the witnesses, unless I pull out the Eternal Witness, then she won't be in Fairy Burrow, Fertilid. Yeah, so I can pull off both counters and then Sun Titan can bring it back. He can't get Herald. He can get the Hunting Moa back. And that's just the creatures. I haven't even shown you the artifacts enchantment. Molten Hydra, he can get him back. Nin, he can rescue her, pull her out of the graveyard. Yeah, he could pull... Actually, Sun Titan is far better than he looks in this deck. So let's say I've got Master Biomancer in play, or Renata. Okay? I have either of those in play. If Primordial Hydra is dead, Sun Titan can bring it back. What would come into play? Yeah. So, come into play. Couldn't spin the X, but she would give it a +1/+1 encounter, or Biomancer would give it 2 +1/+1 encounters, and then it would start doubling during my upkeeps, or if I proliferate. So, Sun Titan is kind of cool in this deck because he can pull out the creatures that have X in them, and as long as I have a way of giving them counters when they come into play, I can get restarted again. So there's that. Okay, Terrastodon, this is what I was trying to remember in my video where I talked about the recent unbanning. So some cards got out of jail, and then in the article, Gavin started talking about other cards that the new, whatever the hell they're calling it in Wizards, the guys that run Commander, there's other cards that they were looking at, and they named some, and one of the ones they named was Sylvan Primordial. Sylvan Primordial, it costs 7 green, as I recall. I believe it's a 4/7 Reacher, could be wrong. When it comes into play, for every opponent, you have to destroy some permanent they control. And then you get a basic land, pull a forest. You get a forest out of your library and put it in play tapped. You have to. That's the Sylvan Primordial's problem. So you have to destroy a permanent for each opponent. If it said may, then you can make a deal with somebody to not destroy any of the things. Or if somebody's behind and you don't want to destroy any of their things, you don't have to. But it doesn't say may. It says you have to. So that's why even if it gets unbanned, I will not play Sylvan Primordial. Terrastodon, however, 6 green, so 8 mana for a 9/9 without trample. He should have trample. I mean, he's big. He's a fucking elephant. But when he comes to play, I may destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into graveyard this way, its controller puts a 3/3 green elephant creature token on the battlefield. So I can blow up my own things and get elephants if I want to. And it's possible I would want to do that. Who knows? Thrumming Bird. 1 in a blue for a 1/1 bird horror. It flies. It's a flying horrific birdie. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. Ulashed, the hate seed. 2 green red comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other red creature I control, and a +1/+1 counter on for each other green creature I control. So if I have Apocalypse Hydra and nothing else, he comes into play with the 2 +1/+1 counters. You can pull one off and deal 1 damage to target creature, or put a Saproling token in play. So if he gets a lot of counters, and I need to go wide, I can start pulling off the counters to make Saproling creature tokens, or if I need to kill something, I can pull off counters and kill the creature. So, pretty good. And there's Vigor. We already talked about Vigor. vigor makes things bigger. Viral Drake, 4 and a blue for 1/4 flying Drake. He's got Infect. I don't care about that. I kind of wish he didn't. I don't like Infect. I don't like Poison. Cube loves it. He's got a fucking Poison deck. The bastard. Anyway, 3 and a blue. Proliferate. And it doesn't tap him. So if somehow I had 6 mana of any color and 2 blue sitting around, I could proliferate twice during somebody else. It doesn't say only as a sorcery. So I can proliferate. I'm definitely putting a Seedborn Muse in this deck. I don't know why the hell I didn't think of it before. Fuck. What an idiot I was. So something that I'm showing you is not going to make the final cut because of Defense of the Heart. Something else will not make the final cut because of the Seedborn Muse that I'm going to put in. Maybe Guided Passage will come out. I keep putting this into Animar decks and I keep cutting it. But it's a fun card. Blue, green, red. Reveal the cards in your library. An opponent chooses from among them a creature, a land, and a non-creature, non-land card. Those go in your hand, then you shuffle. So they're going to give you the worst things possible for you, depending on what they see at the board state. That said, everything you put in your deck is something you put in there for a reason. Right? So, if you don't have much mana, let's say I cast this turn 3, they might give me a really big creature, knowing I can't cast it. Probably give me a basic land that, if I have, say, 3 islands, turn 3, let's say I've got an island, forest, and mountain in play. They're probably going to give me another forest, because they don't think it's going to benefit me. They know blue. If I have 2 blue, I can counterspell. But they'll look at my library and see I don't have any counterspells, really. So who knows? And this is always fun. But a single opponent chooses. So when everybody else starts running their mouth, say nope, 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 he chooses. Anyway, you get 3 things you want for 3 mana. So it's really not that bad. Nature's Lore. I didn't show the mana base yet. Something I did with the mana base is I centered the shock lands and the fetch lands on green. So I can run Nature's Lore. I'm probably going to put a 3 visits in here, but I need to take something out for 3 visits. So there's 3 cards. Defense of the Heart, Seedborn Muse, 3 visits, 3 cards to go in, so 3 cards have to come out. Like I said, the deck doesn't feel finished, but if it stays 90% what I'm showing you, yeah, it's pretty much done. I could play it now. I just want to tweak it a little bit before I do. So 1 into green, search my library for a forest, put it in play, shuffle. So I can find my Triumph, I can find a shock land, I can do anything. Skyshard Claim. It could be I will take out Skyshard Claim in favor of 3 visits because it costs 4. It gets me 2 forest cards and they go into play untapped. 3 visits gets me 1, comes into play untapped. Yeah. Because 3 visits is just Nature's Lore with different art and a different name. It's the same damn thing. So maybe I don't want Skyshard Claim, maybe I want the faster ramp. I'll think about it, or maybe I want both. Be nice to have both. So anyway, when you commit to a Skyshard Claim, search library for up to 2 forest cards, put them into play, and then shuffle. Sylvan Scrying. This is defined by non-basic lands, like Cabal Coffers if I have Urborg, or Urborg if I have Cabal Coffers. Or you have My Hollow if I need to reanimate something. So 1 into green, go look through your library, find a land card, show it to everybody, put it in your hand. So you still have to spend your land drop to put that land into play. And then here we go. Oh, it's my favorite green card. Oh, I love this so much. Tempt with Discovery. So last night, the Genie played it. And everybody, there was no discussion. This is the first time I've ever seen no discussion. Everybody's, as soon as he played it, in his Mrs. Bumblefuck group hug deck, everybody, me, Cube, Long Pete, we all want land. So he's like, yeah, I get 4 lands. So I went and got Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. I didn't pay attention to what Cube or Long Pete got. But yeah, Genie got 4 cards with no argument out of 1 Temperate Discovery. It was a good deal for him. Dawn's Truce. 1 and a white. I got this in a trade, so I thought I'd try it in this deck and see how it works. So 1 and a white. Gift a card. So you and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift is promised, if you let an opponent draw a card, permanents you control also gain indestructible until end of turn. I was kind of thinking I should have a Teferi's Protection here too. I would like to have 2 protection spells. I kind of do, but I feel like Teferi's Protection or Glorious Protector are more of a protection spell than Inspiring Call. So this is the other protection spell. 2 and a green, draw a card for every creature you control with a +1/+1 encounter on it, which should be most of them. And they gain indestructible until end of turn. Instantly. Fuel for the cause. I'm not sure if this is going to make the final cut. I don't know, because normally I don't, if I have counter spells, normally I have them top out at 3, and that's because of Disallow. That's because of, what's the other one I play? Undermine, Absorb. Normally I want my counter spells to cost 2 because you want to keep them as low to the ground as possible, so you're more likely to feel good about leaving the mana up for the counter spell. Because if your turn comes around and you didn't have to counter anything, then it might have been a missed opportunity. Maybe you should have played something else. But keeping 4 up, that starts to get kind of tricky. But again, if I put the Seedborn Muse in, so be it. Fuel for the cause. 2, double blue, counter a spell, and then proliferate. And Inspiring Call, you just saw that. Steady Progress. I don't know if I'm going to want this. I don't know, because, okay, for 2 and a blue, you proliferate and draw a card. I don't know if that's really going to be that valuable. I'm not sure, because last time I played this was years ago, and I'm not sure if it's going to be that impressive. I'll try it, most likely, or maybe I'll cut it for the Seedborn Muse. But anyway, there you go. Steady progress. Alright, now we're on to the artifacts. So Arcane Signet gives you color, 1 mana in your commander's color identity. Contagion Clasp 2. When it comes to play, give something a -1/-1 counter. And 4, tap, proliferate. Give it another -1/-1. Kill that son of a bitch. Contagion Engine. 6. When it comes to play, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature target opponent controls. 4. Tap, proliferate, and then proliferate again. So, if, like Cube with his army of squirrels, if he's getting out of hand, and I play Contagion Engine, I give the squirrels -1/-1. They all get a -1/-1 counter. And then, when I've got the 4 mana, I can give them all 2 more, which should pretty much wipe out the squirrels. He gets them pretty big, pretty fast after about turn 4, 5, or 6. Of course, getting this out and activating it, turn 4, 5, or 6, that's the tricky part. Mage Slayer. So 1 green, red. This is the only... No, I've got another equipment in the deck, never mind. So, it costs 3 to cast, 3 to equip. Whenever equipped creature attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to defending player. It sounds kind of fun, doesn't it? I mean, if I'm attacking with Cullen and Hydra, so it attacks, and I stack the triggers, so it gets the counters, and then this trigger happens, so it becomes an 8/8. Then it deals 8 damage to the defending player. And then they still have an 8/8 trampler to worry about. Anusulaire, this is the Soul Ring for the deck. Everybody knows Soul Ring because it's in every single Commander Precon. And it'll always be in every single Commander Precon. Swift Foot Boots. 2. Equip creatures extra and haste. Yep. Pretty basic. The Ozolith. I actually had this up for sale. I tried to sell it when I just had the stack of Hydras. Nobody wanted to buy it. I was selling it for about 4 or 5 euros more than the low listing. It was still in the lowest 15 listings. I had it in the lowest, nobody wanted to buy it. So I kept it, and that's pretty good actually. So if you have never seen this, or you forgot about it, costs 1 to cast. Legendary artifact. Whenever creature control leaves the battlefield, have had counters on it, put those on the Ozolith. Beginning of combat on your turn, if it has counters on it, you may move all the counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. So you can't spread them around like Forgotten Ancient, but you can make something else real big. Braid of Fire. This might seem like an odd choice, but remember what he does. So Braid of Fire, 1 in a red, and it just sits there. And every upkeep, it gives you more and more and more and more red mana. 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. And if he's in play, if you don't spend it during upkeep, he just turns it black. So you still got it. So I thought this is a pretty good inclusion. Curse of Opulence. This is probably the first thing I'll cut. I mean, this is kind of a joke card. So 1 red, enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a gold token. Each opponent attacking the player does the same. The reason I heard about this is I was looking at Trinket Mage, I think it was, and he said he has this in his deck and he enchants himself. So it encourages people to attack him. So he will always get a gold token. It sounds kind of risky to me, but if it works, it works. Especially if there's doubling season. So if I enchant myself with Curse of Opulence, and I've got doubling season out, whenever anybody attacks me, I get 2 gold tokens. And remember, it's when you're attacked. It's not per attack. You only get, if there's nothing else that doubles, you only get 1 gold token per turn. Of course, if you're being enchanted and people keep attacking you, then you can have 3 gold tokens a turn. And if you've got doubling season and you get 6 gold token per turn cycle because you've got 3 opponents attacking you, that can add up real fast. So doubling season, 4 in a green. An effect to create 1 or more tokens. You get double tokens. Something put counters on permanent control. It puts double the counters. It's just good. Which, Innkeeper's Talent. Maybe I should put that in here. Tivar has it right now. The 1 copy I own. So Innkeeper's Talent, 1 in a green, comes into play. And I think the first stage is you put a +1/+1 counter on creature control. And then you spend some mana and you move it up to stage 2. And creatures you control with +1/+1 counters have Ward 1. And then I forget what stage 3 is. But probably it's good in this deck. Growing Rites of Itlamok, the Judge foil. So 2 in a green, comes into play, look at the top 4 cards of your library, you can show off a creature card from among them, put in your hand, and the rest go on the bottom in any order. Beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, flip it over into Gaia's Cradle. So this is the Gaia's Cradle for the deck. Not that I don't know. Sometimes I'll have a lot of creatures, not like Tivar, he's elves. He pumps out a lot of creatures real fast. Inexorable Tide, 3 blue for an enchantment. Whenever I cast a spell, proliferate. Every spell, proliferate. So this is either going to be a removal magnet or it's going to be a key card in the deck, and I don't know which. Speaking of removal magnets, Ion Storm. How many of you remember Ion Storm? I don't think it's been reprinted. Probably got reprinted once, non-foil in some Commander Precon. So what does it do? It does cool shit. 2 in a red. And then you spend 1 in a red, remove a +1/+1 counter or a charge counter from permanent control. Charge counters, I don't think they had them outside of the original Mirrodin block. I don't think they did. I could be wrong. Probably I'm wrong, but that's where most of the charge counter artifacts were homed, is the original Mirrodin. But anyway, if I spend 2, pull a +1/+1 counter, I've got no charge counter, so I'm going to forget about that. From permanent control, it shocks something. 2 damage target creature or player. So another way of dealing damage. And that's it for the main deck. Let's look at the mana base. So from the mana base, starting off with the Pachuca Bog, comes with play tap, exile graveyard, yeah. Cabal Coffers, yeah. There's an Urborg in here. Exotic Orchard. So another big difference between Omnath and Kenrith, being 5-color decks, is Kenrith, he's got 35 basics and 3 non-basics. Omnath has 20 basics and 18 non-basics, so it's flipped around a bit. But again, I centered the shock lands and fetch lands in green to make it so I wouldn't have so many shock lands that are hurting me. Add 1 mana of any color that an opponent can produce. Gavany Township, 2 green-white, tap, put a +1/+1 counter on every creature you control. Karn's Bastardization, 4 tap, proliferate. Reflecting Pool, add 1 mana of any color that a land you control could produce. Skarg, Le Fosse de Rage. So you can tap for colorless, or you can green-red tap, target creature gets +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. There's Urborg to me, every land is a swamp. Vault of the Archangel, 2 black-white tap, creatures you control gain Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. Yavimaya Hollow, green tap, regenerate target creature. So here we go. As you see, I'm missing the Wooded Foothills, but I've got the green-blue shock and fetch lands, and like I said, I centered the cycle on forest because I've got the cards that search for forest. Skyshard Claim, Nature's Lore. If I put 3 visits, it again only finds a forest. So I could find whatever color I'm missing. If I'm missing blue, I could find Breeding Pool. If I'm missing black, I could find the Overgrown Tomb. Missing red, find the Stomping Ground. White, find the Temple Garden. And then I've got a Zagoth Triumph. I want to put in a Jetmir's Garden. Currently the one I own is in Voya, where it's most needed. So what I want to do is have, again, centered on green, so this one green, black, blue. I want green, red, white, which is the Jetmir's Garden. So short of that, I'm not going to put another Triumph in here, because I would like to, if I'm missing a color, I want a way to find that color with a fetch land or a search card. And then basic land, so 4 of each basic land. And this is not set in stone because I haven't gone through my color pips. The deck is heavily green-red with blue, and then black and white are kind of tertiary colors. So I will probably adjust this up and down a bit. For example, if I get that Wood of Foothills, drop a swamp for it. If I get a City of Brass, drop a mountain for it. Well, plains for it. And that's where I am. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, that's Omnath, Locus of Hydras.